Right then, welcome back to the channel, Stephen Howson. A bit of transfer news has been breaking, so I thought, let's react to it. Let's have a chat about it. We have sort of touched on this very, very briefly a little bit earlier in this week, and that's Matthijs de Ligt. Now, he ticks the boxes of, would Ten Hag like to sign him? Is he Dutch? Has he played in Holland? Has he played for Ajax? All of those things. So far, that adds up. De Ligt's had a very strange career. Now, obviously, that relationship with Erik Ten Hag is quite significant, I think, in the development of him. He made him team captain. He made him a regular starter. He broke through very, very young. I think he was 17 when he made his senior debut for Ajax. Very, very young for a centre-half. You don't usually get that. Now, he's obviously got excellent leadership qualities. And from, a good couple of opening seasons at Ajax, he breaks through. He gets a real big money, €75 million move to Juventus. And he did establish himself in the team eventually. And he played alongside legendary defenders in Chiellini and Bonucci. And I think he improved under their leadership. And it definitely helped solidify his reputation as one of the best defenders in Europe. And then a little bit of a shock move happened, and he ends up at Bayern Munich for less than what Juventus paid for him. Now, he did have injuries at Juventus, and he did miss some games at Juventus, and it was quite a lot of games, but it wasn't, he was nowhere near only playing like 50%. It was out for a decent length of time. Now, at Bayern, he contributed both defensively and offensively. His composure, his ability to read the game, and I think he's been a decent player for Bayern. But decent is only it. And Bayern have got an absolute stack of defenders, and new defenders have come in, which does open the gate to allow some defenders to leave. And it looks like De Ligt is the one that they've decided is going. Now, the money sort of is like 30 million. So you're like, his price is tracking downwards. I actually think United have got an opportunity to get some value here. Like, you can go to a big club like United often, actually, and find value in the market when you're bringing somebody in that is not quite fancied. Maybe he's on high wage. You end up taking a lower transfer fee for him. And again, I go back to that relationship. He's got a relationship with Erik Ten Hag, and you're like, yeah, he had one with Anthony as well, Steve. Okay, but I'm not just going to judge it by, he also had one with Martinez and Onana, and they're good footballers. Everyone's allowed one mistake. I would be inclined to think De Ligt lines up probably more in the Martinez and Onana camp than he would have been in the Anthony camp. He's played a lot of football. He's got a lot of experience. A lot of experience for someone that's 24. Now, it will be 25 when the season starts. But I'll go through a little bit of what's being said about him so far. So Graham Bailey has said that De Ligt has told Bayern Munich he wants to leave them this summer. Now, that I think is quite significant, because that's one of the big steps that you need to get a player over the line. And then Hurst Class was saying that Ineos have put De Ligt on their transfer list. Now, I think you've got to take into account this is amongst all of the other... we've got a game, by the way. We've got a training match, just in case someone's like, where are you? This is our training ground. It's where the res is in that play. It's good graph, actually. Anyway, the situation being what it is, where United have looked at Branthwaite, looked at Todibo, and we are looking at other defenders. And I reckon we're throwing bids in, and we're seeing what's what. And I wonder if United are maybe throwing around a little bit of inquiries into certain players so you can establish what is a fair market value for Todibo. Wouldn't surprise me. Wouldn't surprise me if they just plain and simple want to sign De Ligt. Now, I'll pose this question to you. Let's say Todibo's 40 mil, and let's say De Ligt is 30 mil. Would signing both of those leave United in a better position than just signing one times Jared Branthwaite? Now, I think Branthwaite's actually the worst of those three in terms of a defender. I don't think he's shit. I think people always have to take something to the nth degree. I certainly don't think he's shit. I just don't think he's as good as those. Do De Ligt injuries worry me? Yes. He had 4 injuries last season, I think. and he missed a fair chunk of football. He missed 80 days of last season, 20 games. And he was getting injured quite regular. So he was coming back, being out, coming back, being out. The injuries worry me, and I think that might be why you're going to get him for such a knockdown price. And I think that sort of also comes into, would you want another injury-prone player? Not really. Not as your main sort of defensive signing. But if you've got a player that requires managing a little bit, it's not as much of a gamble if you can get him cheaper. So I'm not certain that De Ligt is a good signing for United. I know he's a good player, but does that make him a good signing? Not always. Do I think he fits the way Ten Hag wants to play? Of course. Do I think he would adapt to playing in the Premier League? I do, yeah. He's got quite a lot of experience in multiple different leagues now. I think he would absolutely adapt to playing for Manchester United. He's not going to be overawed by the club. You know, he's been at a monster club in Holland in Ajax. He's been at a monster club in Germany, Bayern Munich, and he's been at a monster club in Italy in Juventus. I think he'd be absolutely fine. I think he would bring a certain level of pedigree and professionalism. I don't think he'd be fazed by playing for us. But the injury record I can't ignore. I have to think that there is something that needs looking into in terms of the injury record. And I would always, you tell me when you get a player out of Bayern Munich that's still got miles on the clock. Bayern Munich, I think, are one of the better run clubs in the world. And when they decide to let somebody go, that's usually the end of the road for that person in terms of them hitting the very, very top. So, like I said, I do worry about how much is in him. Are Bayern Munich really going to let go, a truly good sort of centre-half? I worry about that. The other thing to worry about is he's allegedly on somewhere in the region of 250 to 300k a week. Now, how do you reconcile that? Because that would be problematic, I think. Wouldn't it? Now, when you look at who they've got in terms of the squad, Kim Min-jae, Meccano, Eric Dyer. They've actually got Pavard. They've got a lot of decent centre-halves there, so it could be they're making way for wages, they're making way for a transfer fee. So actually you could get rid of him. And maybe they're keeping hold of Kim Min-jae. I don't know. I am keen to hear your thoughts though, because it feels like, I was going to say it feels like it's got legs, but I'm not sure it does feel like it's got legs yet. I feel like there's truth in it, but I don't think that means anything just yet. I very much feel like United are setting out our targets, letting it be known we're looking at others, and maybe that's a strategic thing. In the past, United have gone, we're having you, and then we go all the way to the end of the window and end up paying over the odds because we didn't do any due diligence in finding our B target, C target, D target, E target. Whereas if it's kind of in the public consciousness that United have looked at 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 centre-halves, and they're going, listen, we want 30 mil for him. I'm like, I'm not giving you 30 mil. He's like number 4 on our list, and you know he is. It might be a good tactic from United to do that. But anyway, like I said, let me know your thoughts. Bang them all in the comments below. And let me know, should we do a late night live tonight? Is there enough to talk about for a late night live tonight? You guys tell me in the comments. I'll catch you in the next one. Laters.